Welcome to the channel and thanks for being here. If you watched my last interview, you'll know that I started interviewing complete strangers after reaching out to a business networking group on Facebook. Today's chat is no different. If you have recently looked at getting a website built for your business, you have likely seen his ads. After a failed startup led Justin to create the Coding Bowl, his service offering has helped businesses solve two of their greatest sales challenges: how to get new leads coming in and how to convert them once you do. While he wouldn't call himself an entrepreneur, it is very clear that no matter what the name, Justin has been thinking business from a very young age. I found our conversation to be informative and the journey of an entrepreneur all too familiar. So please sit back, relax, and enjoy my conversation with Justin Chan. I've seen your ads on Facebook, as I'm sure many people who are going to be watching this have probably seen your ads on Facebook. Tell me what the Coding Bowl is.
So Coding Bowl was, if you looked at the LinkedIn, right, we started off as a small startup running an app called Hanger. So Hanger is like a fashion app that allows people to kind of, before they go out, take a picture of themselves if they're not confident in their outfit. And then within like 30 seconds, they can get a bunch of feedback from people saying, oh, it's good, it's not good, etc. So we were trying to push this app, and then we got the developers in, marketers in, etc. And then we needed a bunch of money, and it was tough for us to find an investor without much of a proof of traction. So we started Coding Bowl to offer our development service and also design service to local businesses. And then slowly, the app kind of dies down, and then Coding Bowl becomes the focus. And then as we deal with many different local businesses and also in so many different industries, a couple of issues are pretty much common, even across industries. So Coding Bowl is to focus on helping those businesses to overcome those common challenges. One of which is when they spend a lot of money on Google or Facebook ads, getting people onto their website, people don't tend to contact them for service. So it's just a lot of wasted budget, right? And we kind of have figured out a recipe for how to get people onto the website and persuade them that the business that they are currently reading about is the best one for whatever solution they need to overcome a certain challenge, right?
Okay, so I have a couple questions just out of that one, and we'll try to track those a little bit. So I want to start because I think you have touched on something that many entrepreneurs have, in the sense that you started one business, your Hanger app, and you ran into some problems there, and the solution to that actually became another business, but it became your main business. So to me, that is a good indication that you were aware of, where to put your focus and energy. Can you explain sort of what went through your head at the time? And was it purely just you were looking at the numbers and they didn't lie to you, they told the story? Or did you have more of a gut sense as to where your energies were going to be better spent when you made the decision to make that pivot?
When we were doing Hanger Coding Bowl, my partner and I, Simon, we were actually in school as well. So we were still in UBC. So we joined the entrepreneurship program from UBC, and then we kind of explained the Hanger app, etc. And then there's a panel of professors who would give out opinion, like, oh, if your business idea is good or not. So out of all the businesses that have joined that camp, we were the only one that didn't get any positive feedback. So that was a huge blow on us.
Sure.
And then there was a technology which is very commonly used now, is the QR code. So it's a huge part of our solution. And then the professor is like, oh, QR code is never going to pick up, etc. So, and then on the other hand, we were getting checks every day from our clients. So it was pretty simple decision to make. It's like, okay, so we can either continue hanging with so much negativity, or we can just continue with Coding Bowl where more people appreciate what we're doing. So it wasn't really a dollar and cents kind of decision. It was more like a emotional decision that we want to make.
Okay.
And then for Hanger, what we want to do besides giving the outfit opinion, crowdsourcing outfit opinion, was to basically allow the retailers to have more like a remarketing opportunity. So for example, if I keep on wearing suit every day, or maybe like a sport coat, then you kind of know that I'm a sport coat person. So then in the app, we can kind of signal to the retailers that, okay, Justin really likes sport coats. So if you have any new products that are sport coat related or in a similar style, we can help you send those products for him to kind of to market those products to him.
Right.
So when we got into the retail world, the entire inventory system is extremely disorganized. So let's say Zara or H&M, they use a completely different system to kind of maintain their products, right? It's not like real estate listings where each listing has its own individual code, and it's really easy for the whole market to understand what's happening. So there was a lot of challenges in the Hanger site. So without enough financial funding, and with Coding Bowl being so much easier, we picked to focus on Coding Bowl.
Okay, so did you take outside investment for either? And if you did they sort of have any kind of say as to where the focus was going to be?
It was initially, it was my father who funded Hanger for $20,000. So obviously that kind of burned out in 2 months. And then it became Coding Bowl who financed Hanger.
Right.
So whatever profit we made from Coding Bowl, we reinvested into Hanger.
Okay. Well, I mean, it's a smart pivot though, whether it was a logical dollar and cents one or even an emotional one. Sometimes it is better to cut negative energy and focus on your positive energy, because your output's going to be a lot better, obviously, right? And it seems like you found that, because if I remember correctly, the dating Hanger was about 5 years ago, and you've been doing Coding Bowl since then. Okay.
Been about 5 years ago, yeah.
And Coding Bowl ever since.
Yep.
Okay. So, and then you also said Coding Bowl focuses on the challenges that sort of transcend industries. It could work on retail, real estate, legal, accounting, whatnot. So what specific challenges are you solving for businesses?
So the main thing is the conversion rate for their online campaign. That's the number one challenge that we solve. So if a website that is designed following our Coding Bowl framework, it can basically double the conversion rate. So just a couple of clients, or maybe the past work that you can see on our website, initially they were getting maybe, let's say, 20 inquiries a month, but after redesigning the site following our Coding Bowl framework, helping you to build trust with the reader without actual human interaction, that the website can all of a sudden generate leads at, let's say, 40 or 50 a month compared to 20 a month initially.
Okay.
So that's the number one problem we've solved, the leads coming in. The second problem that we need to help our clients to solve is the closing of the leads. Because sometimes businesses think that, oh, if I get more leads, then all of a sudden my business will grow. But between leads to actually signing the client, there's still the closing process. So that part seems to be missing from a lot of our clients. And then we have methods to help them improve on that, right? The lead nurturing process. So let's say email marketing, or maybe as you can see right now, the reason why you're seeing so much of our Facebook ads is because you have gone onto our website before, or you interacted with me before. So we have like a remarketing campaign to make sure our branding is always on top of your head. So if, let's say, a client who is coming to you for your service, but then you haven't signed a contract yet, so you don't want them to be like leaving you to go to another competitor. And the only way to do that is to show that you are you, and show that for your branding value, right? Throughout all a series of remarketing ads. So that's kind of what we are doing as well. After helping the clients getting the leads, we would help them to close as well.
How have you seen web-based marketing change over the course of Coding Bowl, or even the course of your knowledge, whether it's 5, 10, 15 years, because the changes I've seen in the web in the last 15, 20 years are obviously quite substantial. So when did you start in web marketing or web-based anything, and how have you seen it grow?
So we started back in December 2015. So pretty much, let's say 5 years already. In terms of the marketing side of things, it hasn't actually changed that much in the course of 5 years.
Okay.
But it's more like the messaging that our client receive. So if you have followed a couple of digital marketing Facebook page or on Twitter, you will start seeing ads that's like saying, oh, in 1 month, I can help you grow your business to like 7 figures business, right? So these trends becoming more and more dominant in our industry. So the gurus are trying to teach you how to run your Facebook ads for like $4,000 a course. So if our clients are desperate enough, they would fall for it and do it, right? And then because right now Photoshop is so in trend, so anyone can basically edit their numbers on the screen and then be like, see, I can generate a real estate lead for you for like $1. So if you keep on seeing ads like this, right?
Sure.
You would believe in it. So that would all of a sudden change your entire thinking about digital marketing, right? You would start thinking that, oh, it's going to be very cheap. It doesn't take time. Everything is instantaneous. So when you actually run your own campaign, you would see a different reality, and that makes you feel even more frustrated, because digital marketing is supposed to be the next big thing. It's supposed to be a more accessible marketing methods to day-to-day business owners, but all of a sudden it doesn't work for me. So why? Right. And then when the lead comes in, because nowadays, let's say getting a lead from Facebook or from Google, because it's so easy for a customer to fill out a couple of forms on the internet, then all of a sudden I can fill out 5 different forms and then get 5 different service providers to give me quote, compete on the price, etc. It makes it very hard for you to close the leads. Then all of a sudden you also think that, hey, digital marketing doesn't really work. It's not for me. So that's kind of the trend that we have been seeing. So that's why instead of helping our customers focus on only getting a bunch of leads, it is important to help them nurture the leads and also teaching them how to close the leads, and setting the right expectations is the most important thing.
Yeah, and I mean, truth be told, a salesperson or a company, they want more leads, but at the bottom line, they want more sales. So it doesn't matter how many leads come in. I mean, if 100 leads come in and only one of them converts to a sale, they got a sale, but they really only needed one lead to translate into a sale, right? And so I understand what you're saying with the closing ratio. It's interesting what you said there about how social media gurus, as you put it, are advertising. I guess what you would say, I don't know if you would go as far as saying fraudulent claims as to success, or just heavily embellished claims. Maybe they ran a campaign and over the course of 3 hours they managed to generate leads at $1 per lead, but over the course of the campaign it was closer to $7 or $10, and they're advertising that $1. So it makes people think, oh, well, that it's going to be cheap. I'm wondering if in reality it's claiming those people that feel they can do it themselves, and so they're doing it themselves, and they're only seeing $7 to $10 per lead results, and then they see these advertisements for $1 and they think, well, I'm probably just wasting my money, maybe I should spend it over here. Would you say that that's, I guess, what these gurus are playing on?
I guess, yeah. So if you are getting your own leads for, let's say, $7 or $10, right, and then you see a guy who's willing to do it for who has the ability to do it for $1, then obviously you would want to see what you are missing from your campaign. So you would want to buy those calls, or you would want to find a agency to kind of help you to achieve the same results as well, right? but that
Right.
$1 can never actually be achieved because Facebook is getting more and more expensive, same as Google every day. And then right now, the other trend is also, if you have run Google ads before, you can see that you have a lot of ability to kind of control how the campaign is run, what kind of keywords you want to show your ads to, what kind of keywords you don't want your ads to show to. So Google is removing the ability now.
They're no longer going to allow you to target by keyword?
You have less and less ability to. So in the past, you can make specific instructions on what keyword to show and what keyword to not show.
Yeah.
And then Google would also give you the list of keywords that your ads have shown. So right now, the latest numbers is like 60% of the keywords that your ad has showed, Google is no longer providing that data to you. So as a ad buyer or as a business owner, your money is actually getting less and less certain on what you are doing with it. Because I don't know if you know, with Facebook ads, you can only target a certain interest nowadays, right? And then for some kind of ads, let's say credit ads or maybe real estate ads, you are not allowed to exclude people anymore. So you have to rely on their AI algorithm to kind of help you find the best guy to show your ad to. But obviously with Facebook and Google, you can't really, because they are always about the bottom line at the end, right? So I'm getting a bit iffy about running ads on those platforms as well.
Okay. What are your go-to platforms for advertisement, or does it depend on the client?
So right now with our clients, because getting the leads, like a huge amount of leads, is not the number one concern. It's more about getting the leads and able to close them. So we are actually focusing more our efforts onto SEO.
Okay.
Because with SEO, you don't have to pay for the ad dollars, which is a lot more cost effective. And then with Coding Bowl, because we have so many clients already, we have a network of people who are willing to give each other backlinks. So let's say business A mentioned business B on their website. So that kind of create like an association between these two websites. And then both websites would kind of get like a credibility boost. So that kind of help with the ranking. So we are helping our clients to build trust between different businesses in our network, and then slowly helping them to boost their position to the top 3 on Google. So they don't have to pay Google any ad dollars, or they don't have to pay Facebook any ad dollars, and they are able to still get the leads. And then from our findings, it's like the leads coming from the organic channel seems to be easier to close versus leads coming from the advertising channels. So after we help our clients redesigning the website, we would help them to bring up their Google ranking, and that helps them to bring up the number of leads, at the same time bring up the number of closed deals.
Okay, that makes a bit of sense. What would you say is the biggest misconception of your business?
My biggest misconception is because everything seems to be just on the computer, so they think it's very cheap. So people are willing to pay for, let's say, a news, placing an ad on, let's say, BBB for like $2,000 a month, or maybe placing an ad on newspaper for like a couple $1,000s a month as well, right? But they're very iffy about paying like several $100 on Facebook, etc. So, but that would be like still the biggest misconception among the small businesses, because it kind of makes sense, right? Because they don't actually have that much margin. So whenever they spend $1, they kind of need to be more considerate about it.
What would your typical client look like? Are they small businesses, up to $500,000 of revenue? Are they million plus, 3 million, 5 million? What is and what industry? What would you say is the typical client profile of yours?
So we do have businesses that are $5 million or above annual revenue. We also have businesses that are smaller, so let's say $500,000 or below. And then it's interesting to see how these businesses will still face the same amount of problems, like the same set of problems essentially. Because let's say I'm $5 million or above, my challenge is still to grow the company by, let's say, 10 or 20%, right? And then if my business is 500,000 below, my goal is to grow it by 10 to 20%. So essentially the toolbox still apply, the tools that we have still apply for both type of businesses.
Right. The approach has got to be slightly different for each though, right? I mean, increasing a $5 million business by 10%, the resources available to them is greater than the smaller business, yes?
So the logic is the same, but then the number of, so let's say for SEO, right? If the business is $5 million or above, then you need to find other businesses that are also $5 million or above to kind of give them the backlink. So this way it would have the same value, right? But let's say if it's $500,000 or below, then the backlinks are no longer needed to be so powerful, let's say. So, but then the logic is still the same. It's just the actual execution is different.
So you're no longer hands-on doing the work for the clients. You're more direction and delegation and management of the staff. Okay.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay. Now, you say 9 to 5, but as a business owner, we both know there is no 9 to 5. So what do you do when you leave your office?
And then right now it's kind of ambiguous too, right? Because the office is in the same room.
Yeah.
So it's more like you have to set your own rule. It's like 9 to 5, and then you kind of just try not to touch the work stuff. And then so with my clients, communication, etc. So after 5 p.m., then I won't reply to them unless it's very urgent. And then we kind of both understand. We kind of have the expectation with the client is like our office hours is only 9 to 5. After that, then I'll contact you tomorrow, right? Because even for our clients, they have their own kids, etc. So after 5, it's not like they're free anyways. So that's kind of good too.
Right, but your clientele are all entrepreneurs as well, and so they're operating outside of a 9 to 5 construct as well. What systems have you put in place to help you separate work and personal life and have those 9 to 5 boundaries? I mean, you mentioned you don't respond to emails, but you said you will respond to them if it's an emergency. So something tells me you're still checking your emails. So what systems do you have in place, if any, in order to help you separate from work?
So when they send in an email, so our mailbox has certain rules. It's like detect couple keywords, let's say urgent. I need you right away. Keywords like this, then it would notify me. Otherwise, if the email doesn't contain those keywords, it won't be prompting me to read it.
So then that comes down to a lot of training your client too, right? And setting the expectations from the outset of saying, you can get a hold of me between 9 and 5. And if you need to get a hold of me in an emergency, you can, and this is the process, but don't abuse that system, right? So how do you go about onboarding a client and training them for that expectation?
So right now, there's something that I'm working on, because I want to also delegate out the entire sales process to a new employee. So that part is the process that I need to kind of take it out from my brain and build it out into a menu for the new employees to follow, so they can kind of onboard the clients as well. Because right now, we don't really have like a set of writing given to the client. It's more like if they do message me the first time, I'll tell them, oh, it's after 5. If it's urgent, then I will do it for you. If it's not, then I'll do it tomorrow or something. So we don't really have a clear process on onboarding the client, which we should have. And that's what we'll be doing next.
I'm just curious, because reading your bio, you actually went to school for finance and math. Is that correct? How did you end up in an app with Hanger and then subsequently another tech business or tech related? What was the original goal going into university with that education, or are you in it?
So the goal for the entire UBC degree was always about building a business. It's more like getting into math and also getting into finance. put me in the best spot for knowing the smart kids, let's say.
Yeah.
So that
Yeah.
that was the plan. That's pretty much
Okay.
it. I never wanted to building businesses is always my goal from the beginning. Even in high school, on LinkedIn profile, the first business that I've ever done was when iPhone 4 was launched. A bunch of people was looking for those iPhone cases, and at the time, Alibaba or AliExpress wasn't a huge thing on the internet.
Yeah. Yeah.
So there was still an arbitrage opportunity for me to buy cases from China and then sell them on my first e-commerce store.
Okay.
So that's how everyone in my high school in Ontario got a bunch of new cases and also headphones, etc.
You were the accessories guy.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, and how'd that work out for you?
It worked out well initially, but that's why quality control is important. Is because those earphones that we got from AliExpress started to break down right before graduation. So didn't want to leave any bad taste in anyone's mouth. So we just refunded all the money, and that's pretty much the end of it.
Okay, so more education than profit in that venture then. Okay. So going back to your high school days of iPhone 4, so because I have a theory about entrepreneurs, and of course it depends who you ask whether it's accurate or not. I think true entrepreneurs are born, not bred, or not taught. Sorry. And so I'm curious, who or what was your primary drive for being an entrepreneur? I mean, you obviously had that drive in high school to get those iPhone 4 cases and sell them, when, of course, the majority of kids don't think that way. They don't do that. So what was your aha moment? I want to be in business for myself.
The aha moment, I don't really know, but then it's really like a childhood story that my dad told me. So in terms of entrepreneurs, like you need to build something new and then kind of provide value, right? So I think I'm more like a businessman. I like to I like to build businesses, not really to build anything new to change the world. I just want to kind of like build a business that is profitable and then move on to a new idea, etc. So the childhood story that he was telling me is it was back in Hong Kong. There's a type of candy that every kid wants. So there's one time I see it on sale in a convenience store. So I told my dad to just buy them all out so I can bring all the candy back to school and sell them back at the retail value, right? So that was like the aha moment for me, I guess, to know that this is really what I want to do. So that's why back in, let's say, Hanger or maybe Coding Bowl, I think what I really enjoy with Coding Bowl is I can see that people appreciate what we do, versus at the stage of Hanger, not that many people are liking what we do or maybe giving us enough motivation to continue. So in terms of the aha moment is really every time, let's say for the accessories business, even though it wasn't profitable, but it's like people was appreciating that we brought the phone cases to a small town to sell, because otherwise the secondary option was Best Buy, which is like $40 a case, and we were selling it at $10 a case with better patterns and better designs.
Okay. How old were you with when you told your dad to do that with the candies?
The candy story, I think it was 6 or 7.
Okay. I love it. I love it.
And then my family also came from like a business owner background. So my grandpa was in the textile industry, and then my father picked up on his business. So there has been a pattern in our family to kind of like be the businessman, build up value, sell the value at the highest price, make the most profit. Yeah.
So, I mean, it was more of you came from an example of entrepreneurship, right? Because, you know, if your parents, or at least your dad, was a business owner and your grandfather, maybe that was the path you took because it was the only one you knew, right? Or did you see another option?
And then I was back in UBC. I was also in the internship programs. So
Okay.
I also have seen like a employee style kind of life. But at that time when I had the first internship and also the second internship and the third internship, I have already done that accessory business. So I could do the comparison as like, do you want to be a business owner or do you want to be a employee, right? So I was able to do that comparison myself. And I think I enjoy being a business owner a lot more because I like to see challenges every day. And then I also like to have things in my control. So if let's say the best part about being a business owner is if you see a challenge, you are the person to design the solution, right? But if you are an employee, even though if you face a challenge, you are supposed to design the solution and then you need to sell the solution to your supervisor. And then your supervisor potentially has to sell it to his supervisor. Yeah. So I don't like that inefficiency in a corporate structure. So I do prefer to become a business owner.
I really like that analogy. And I'm curious, do you allow your staff to remove those inefficiencies as well? Like, does a staff member in your company have the ability or control to create a solution and implement it without selling it to you first, or does it have to come across your desk?
So right now, in terms of the staff that I have, so they're more like on a junior level. Okay. So they don't actually have too much experience and knowledge in terms of the digital marketing or the web design world. So for them, when I face a challenge, I would actually discuss with them and then brainstorm together. Okay. So it's not like whether there's a proposal that I need to approve or not, but it's more like a brainstorming session and then see what kind of ideas they have, what kind of ideas I have, and then we just pick the best one to try. And then if it fails, then we try again. Being respectful of your time, I'm looking at the clock here. I just want to ask you a few rapid fire questions and then let you go. Obviously, I'll give you an opportunity to, ask me any questions as well. But so to start off with, what was your worst job ever? Maybe there was one time I was interning in the Chinese government. My friend got me the internship. It was interesting. It wasn't bad at all, but then the experience was just very new because I don't speak Mandarin very well. And then, as you know, in that office, everyone speaks Mandarin. So it was very lonely for me for 2 months. That's pretty much it. Okay. Well, I mean, for somebody, if you're social, being isolated can be bad as well, right? Okay. So what podcast or book do you recommend the most? I think for small business owner, the most important book is something called a Profit First. That's the name of the book. That's very important for all business owners. Have you read it? I have not. I have heard of it. Yeah, but that book is, I read it back in a year ago, and then it kind of changed my entire perspective on owner's compensation, operating expenses, etc. Because as you know, for small business owners, usually it's like you get the money in, there's barely enough left for yourself. So Profit First is the book that can help you to build a healthy business and also build a healthy personal financial situation. I haven't asked you your age. You look quite young to me. You don't seem young, but you look young. How old are you? I'm 27 this year. Okay, so I'm gonna dial this question back. Normally I ask for 20-year-old self, but I'm gonna say if you could give your 17-year-old self a piece of advice, what would it be? Don't try to be the smartest guy in the room. There's always more to learn. What is your go-to feel-good food? You're having a bad day or you're just craving something. What are you grabbing? Church chicken. Church's chicken. Okay. Right, regular or spicy? Spicy, and then dark meat. It's really good. Okay, yeah. Church's chicken's good. Have you had Popeyes yet? Not yet. Are they open? I don't know about Vancouver. There's one out in White Rock, and I believe there's one. Actually, I think there's one in North Van.
Don't quote me on that, but yeah, try to get yourself to some Popeyes. I think Church's is, I don't know. I think they're comparable, but they are different. Yeah, but they have a like a sweet and spicy sauce that goes with their chicken. That's really good. That's really good. So if you like spice, give that a try. The spicy chicken with the spicy sauce, and your mouth will be on fire. It'll be great. Thank you very much for giving me your time. I very much appreciate it. For everyone else watching, where can people find you?
They can find me on our website. So it's just website.decodingbook.com, and then they can fill out the booking form, and then they can talk to me or my team.
Perfect. All right, Justin. Thank you so much. I appreciate the time, and I will talk to you later.
Okay. Thank you for organizing this.
All right, no problem. Have a great day.